Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, it's not actually 3 a.m. I ran into some problems this morning. I had some problems with my electricity, and it's actually almost 7 a.m. So I'm running late this morning, and it kind of messed up my whole video production for today. So I'm going to tell you what's on my mind today. Okay, after the electricity came back on, I was watching television, the local news. I think it was actually a Fox station too, so I don't know if that makes a difference or not. And they're talking about how Trump and Musk are cutting 10,000. I'll see if I can find links down below, put it down in the description, articles about this. 10,000 workers from Health and Human Services. Okay, I saw that on the news this morning, Friday. Today is March 29th, I believe, right? 2025. And I want to tell you what my main concern is here. Like I said, I've been clean and sober for over 18 years, and I was in and out of detoxes. And the thing that finally worked for me was methadone maintenance, the methadone clinic. Now, Health and Human Services is the main arm of the branch of the government that organizes and funds recovery and addiction efforts. And I know the local clinic is a nonprofit, and I've read that some of these cuts will affect nonprofits. This is the bottom line. I'm scared for the people that are in recovery now. Before this election, there was all this talk about fentanyl and all the people. We got to do something about the fentanyl, the immigration. They blamed it all on the immigration and everything. And, but now it just seems the topic seems to have disappeared. And I'm terrified for these people that are in recovery right now. There's a lot of people on the right that think they're going to get a big fat check, that think they're going to get some kind of tax break, a check for $5,000 or a tax break or a free pony or whatever Musk and Trump are promising, from all these cuts. People on the right think it's all fraud and waste. When I see 10,000 people just axed from an agency, to me, it's pretty obvious that they're not considering anything. They're just clear-cutting people right across, just scooping out large, they're basically doing away with the agency. If there's people left, I don't see how this agency can function. Musk and Trump, for all I can see, don't have any experts, they fired all the experts that deal with waste and fraud. So how do they know who even to fire? And this is the point I want to make for this video. Okay, I know addiction, and if you think this won't affect you, I have news for you. And I'm not making this video to make you scared or anything, but believe me, it affects you. It made me a productive member of society again, instead of a criminal. And I have seen, if the clinics around here or the other recovery and addiction centers around here closed down, and hundreds or thousands of addicts are just put out on the street in the throes of addiction, in the throes of withdrawal. I have seen people damage, it'll affect the whole community. I've seen addicts disassemble, take apart refrigeration units on top of roofs, causing $10,000, $20,000 worth of damage just for $100 in copper wire. I've heard about addicts that I knew, that I turned in, stealing pocketbooks in parking centers. I've actually had people I knew that I used to hang around with 20 years ago that would target vehicles to break into. And the vehicles they targeted were the ones that had the NRA stickers on the back, because they were hoping that there would be a firearm in the glove box that they could steal and pawn. So those NRA stickers weren't any, it didn't just dissuade these addicts at all. It actually made these vehicles a target for these addicts. These are people I used to know. This is what I'm scared of. Clear-cutting 10,000 people out of this agency. What's going to happen to all these recovery centers? 2 months ago, everybody was so worried about, Americans and fentanyl. So how come that doesn't matter anymore? And it's not just the addict's problem. That addict when that addict gets turned out and has no other option, it's going to become society's problem. It's going to become the community's problem in a big way. Because I'll tell you this: when I was an addict, the thought of somebody harming me or shooting me or killing me didn't faze me at all. It was actually something I would look forward to put me out of my misery. When you're in the middle of withdrawals, in the agony of withdrawals, all you're thinking about is getting anything you can get to stop it. And there's guns and guard dogs and police. That stuff is just irrelevant. It's in everybody's best interest that these recovery programs continue. All right, I'll be back later with another video. I'm sorry this was such a quick video. I'll have another one later. Have a good Friday.